and let me continue from that. So we have discussed something about the testing, like why and when to test. Now we'll see role of testing in a general. So first role of testing is to verify the result. This is so verification is a part of testing. And verification means will any faults occur, right? Then we have to validate validation. So validation is also a part of testing. So when we are saying we are going to test, that means we are going to do all the things. So validation means will fault occur during the mass production. Third is the detection. Is there any faults? Yes or no? Right. Diagnosis the fault. Where is the fault? Fifth one is the device characterization. Why the fault occur, is the design wrong or test process wrong. Sixth task of or role of testing is to failure mode analysis. How that fault can be prevented, right? In the manufacturing process is wrong or something. Yes, any someone have make mic unmute. Kindly make it mute. Burning, will it work for the longer life, right? So our design will work for the longer life or not. That can be tested using the burning. It is called a burning. Then the speed bidding. That means if we have our design, we have designed for high speed applications. Then we have to check the actual speed applications. Is it working properly or not? So speed bidding. And ninth one, acceptance testing and incoming inspection. So should I use it my system, my IC can I use for my system or not? That is last it can be test using like an acceptance testing or not. Try to understand one by one each verification. So verification verify the correctness of the design, right? It verified the correctness of the design. Still our that is not implemented on a chip, right? It's still designed in terms of the RTL code or like that, right? So it is in a functional. So perform once prior to the manufacturing process. So verification is performed prior to the manufacturing process. So if can detect the fault early, it will cost us less to correct the fault. Perform by simulations. How we can verify? So one method is the simulations, as we have did in our today's experiment. We have simulated the design. So and by checking the waveforms, we can verify the design is correct or not. So same process for the even the complex design. It can be performed the verification using simulations, hardware emulation, or the formal methods. So formal method means checking the equality, functional equality of the design. Responsible for the quality of design. So verification is responsible of the quality of design. Once we say our design is verified, right? It is functionally verification is done. That means the RTL design is correct, or the quality of design is good. So verification is responsible for the quality of design. If you can take the example, then I can give the best example of verification. It is like a sonography used for the unborn baby during the pregnancy. So we are verifying any that uh, in a unborn baby, we are verifying it's have any disease in that or not, right? So it is a verification. Another is the validations, right? So verification, testing, characterization, design debugs, right? It is a validations. So after the first lot of prototypes are manufactured, IC goes through a design validations and pilot run test. Right? So once the first lot is fabricated, then that IC it put under the rigorous testing. Right? So it is a pilot run stage. It checked that either the fabrication process was correct and the fabricated IC is correct. Right? And here it is and assume that the design was error free because the design comes from the after the verification, so it is assumed the design it is error free, but if found the bug in a validation, then there's bugs either from the fabrication process or from the uh, was correct and that fabricated IC is correct. So now bugs is due to the process variation and in a fabrication process. Also verify the correctness of the test process. Second thing is uh, whatever the product we are putting under the test, so that the test environment or it should be also correct. If it's a test environment itself is a faulty, then also will get the faulty output. It can test for the SC, DC and functional test and probing internal chip node also, internal node also going to be checked. Spatial tools like a scanning electron microscope, electron beam scanner, artificial intelligence technique, etc. are used for the verification. So I can give the best example of validation is like a new baby born screening test for a baby. So once the born of a new baby, and immediately we are calling the that pediatric doctor for to scanning the new baby born, right, for any disease or not, right. So it is a scanning of new baby born. So validation is similar to like that. Third stage is the diagnosis. Once the verification and validation is successful, means the design is error free and the fabricated lot of first stage we have a test for ACDC and functional test also found correct. Third stage is the diagnosis. So identify the fault that exists in a system. So once we mount the IC into a system, right, it is a one part of the system. System have the different other component under the IC also, right? Which is which fault is there? Types of fault, right? Where is that fault? Fault locations that is identified at the diagnosis stage. So example, like take continue same example. It is like after a set of pathological test, a doctor diagnoses your disease. So new baby borns that first is screening by the pediatric doctor, and he found something need to be tested. Some testing are required. Then it's sent for to take its blood to test for some pathological test, and that is similar to the diagnosis, right? So that is sent for that pathological test. The doctor diagnoses your disease based on the pathological test. Fourth step is the device characterization. So determination and correction of the error in a device or a test procedure. So either the error in the device or either in the test procedure in a types of validations, right? So that the next lot of IC will be error free. So that is the device characterization. We are making them to correct that at the time of diagnosis, whatever we found that bugs that is corrected in a device characterization. So the next lot will come fault free. So it is like a doctor write a prescription of medicines, right, based on the pathological test, and if doctor found need some medicine to treat the disease, then it write the some prescription of medicine to cure the disease. So it is like a device characterization. So whatever the corrective actions we are taking to make it bug free, so it is like a medicine to the provide a medicine to the baby borns who have some initial disease. Here is there is a difference between the man and IC. In man that is prescribed using the disease, in IC we need to be uh, like that. Failure mode analysis. So failure mode analysis, why and how and when the fault had occurred. That we have to analyze the failure, right? Why the fault occurred, how the fault occurred, and when the fault occurred. That the analysis, if you do, it is called a failure mode analysis. Determine the manufacturing process error that may have the caused the fault. Through the failure mode analysis, we can find where is the exact the process error that introducing the fault in a that fabricated IC. So like determining the why that disease occurred in a new baby and find the preventive actions, bad health, good habit is disease which created the disease. So need to be diagnose the disease or analyze the disease due to which reason the fault is occurred. It is called a failure mode analysis. Once we done the failure, sorry, next step is the detection. Testing in general. Does any of the fault exist? Which, why, how, where, when is out of scope here? Only yes or no. Answer in will get in only yes or no in a detection. Or we can say go or no go. Right? We have to go for next slot for the IC or not. That answer will get after the detection at the fabrication unit for all fabricated IC. Less compressive than the characterization. Test should have the high fault coverage, low cost and minimum test time. So detection is like a, that is a less costly testing process compared to the characterization of the. Are you completely fit? Does any disease of there or not? So like answering yes or no, right? Like medical test for army, right? Is it fit for the army or not? So the answer here will get in terms of yes or no, right? So it's not like a 50% is 50% is not fit, not like that. Yes or not. So fit then go, otherwise no go. Right? It's only a decision in terms of yes or no. One in or trace test. Trace test. So right. So by providing the trace on the chip to be tested for up to how much level it can withstand the stress. So here in a stress in our electronics in terms of the speed, right, in terms of the temperature, like that the parameter are the stress for the our electronics item. If it's a civil or a physical item, then we are giving the stress in terms of the pressure or like that. So to trace the chip to accelerate the failure mechanism, some chip pass the production test but will fail very quickly thereafter, right? Initially chip is passed, but once you put into the system and when you want to run it for the at the different environment, then it that fail, right? So need some burn-in or stress test to increase the temperature or voltage by applying the test pattern. Infant mortality failure in 10 to 30 hours during the starting of the operation, and the brake failure it is was the fail occur after the 100 hours and up to the during the 1000 hours of operating if it's failed. then it is called a break failure. And if the fail occur in just using for the 10 to 30 hours and fail occur, it is called a infant mortality failure. Acceptance testing and incoming inspection. So customer perform this test like a universal tester to test the IC at our digital electronics lab. Right? So as we are testing the IC as a user, so it is like an acceptance test. So similarly, like design test flow. Design test flow. So if we see, the first step is we have to verify the functionality. So finalization of the specification, it is the first step of a first testing process in any VLSI design. Right? So from the description of the customer, we need to be prepared a specification in terms of technical specification, and that we have to compare the description of customer. It is as it is can implement through this specification or not. So this is the first testing in a VLSI design. Second testing occur is once we implement that specification into the RTL code by writing some Verilog VHDL code that implement that specification into the RTL code. So after writing this RTL code, again we need to be verified whatever the RTL code we have written, it's as per the specification or not, right? So it is verification, it is called a functional verifications. So major work is done at the functional verifications. Third task is once our RTL code means this Verilog or VHDL code is as per the specification of the design and it is verified, functional verification is verified, then the tool convert the RTL code into the gate level netlist. So tool convert the RTL code into the gate level netlist. So once we convert the RTL into the gate level netlist, then we have to check for a static time analysis. Right? So we have to check some physical constraint, the static time analysis is matched or not. So you in our one of the presentation you will learn what is the static timing analysis. Before that, let me just give the introduction about the static timing analysis. Suppose this is a design, right? This is the design. Right. Now this is some combinational circuit, right? So combinational circuit have some delay, right? So to reach from Q to D0, it has some delay. So it is called a combinational circuit delay, right? Propagation delay. This is has some clock, right? And we know the flip-flop have its setup time and hold time, right? So and in this is a synchronous design, right? This is a synchronous design. So in a synchronous design, what is the requirement is? Requirement is all the flip-flop must be triggered the simultaneously, right? All the flip-flop must be triggered the simultaneously. Suppose it is a positive is triggered, right? So this is our data D that we are applying, right? Suppose at the before the clock we are making it to the 1, right? And initially Q out is equal to 0, right? So new Q out after once it's have the clock is will get it is 1, right? Will get it is 1. Now that Q will reach to the D0 after the propagation delay of P-comb, right? So Q reach to the D0 after the propagation delay, right? So this is the propagation delay. It reach to the Q. Now, when we have the next positive edge of the clock, what we expect? We expect that whatever the previous output of the first flip-flop should reach the D0 before the next clock edge, right? But due to this propagation delay, and also the clock, also the flip-flops have its minimum setup time is required. Now, so can anyone tell me what is the setup time? These are the very much important questions. You are going to appear in a VLSI placement drive. So you should know what is the setup time.
એટલે સર્કિટને આટલો મિનિમમ ટાઈમ જોઈએ કે જેથી કરીને આપણા જે ઇનપુટ હોય પ્રોપર બધા કમ્પોનન્ટને મળી રહે.
Correct, but not all component, right? Correct, but not the component. So setup time is the minimum time before clock triggering, before the clock is, suppose it is a positive edge trigger, then before the clock positive edge, input of flip-flop, must be stable. Minimum time before clock is, input of flip-flop must be stable to take correct sampling. Is it clear from this whatever I have written? Also you can write in your notebook. This is a very important fundamentals in a digital design or as a VLSI designer. You must know about the setup time, you must know about the hold time, you must about the what is static timing analysis, right? So these are some fundamentals it is required. So setup time is the minimum time before the clock is. Input of flip-flop must be stable to take a correct sample of input. Right? So આપણે અહીંયા D0 ને શું આપવું છે તો કહીશે previous output of first flip-flop which is the Q. So we have to be provided Q output to the D0 before the clock is, before the setup time of clock is, right? Before the setup time of clock is, then it take the correct sample. Here we want to give the D0 as an input 1. So we have to keep this input 1 stable before the clock is, before some minimum time of clock is, so it take the correct sample. Now suppose if we are keeping, suppose our that propagation delay of combinational circuit plus setup time, suppose it is greater than the time period of the clock. Suppose it is greater than the time period of the clock, right? Then next flip-flop will not take the correct sample, right? આ જો ટાઈમ પીરિયડ સેટઅપ ટાઈમ કરતા ઓછો હશે તો શું થશે next flip-flop we cannot ensure will take the correct sample that we want to give to the next flip-flop. આપણે next flip-flop ને logic 1 આપવું છે તો એ logic 1 લેશે કે નહીં લે એ આની ઉપર ડિપેન્ડન્ટ છે. So if its time period of the clock is less than that, right? So it is called a negative slack. It is called a negative slack. Negative slack, right? And the negative slack will not work in a design. So how we have to match the timing? So કેવી રીતે time match કરશો? Either you have to decrease the clock frequency, right? But we want to operate the design at the same clock frequency, that here we cannot be compromised, right? because I want a design should work on that same clock frequency. So I cannot increase the time period, right? So what can I do? I can make the reduction of the propagation delay time of the combinational circuit, right? Setup time is also not in our hand. It is a setup time of the flip-flop, and that flip-flops normally in a VLSI design we are going to use a standard cell. So this is already inbuilt in a library that we are going to use to implement our design. So here we do not designer cannot change here anything. If he or she going to use a standard cell based design, right? So where is the only the scope in only in this propagation delay of the combinational circuit. Is it clear? Any questions so far?
સર આ પ્રોપોગેશન ડીલે છે ઈ પ્રોસેસ પેરામીટર નો ગણી શકે એને કઈ રીતના ડીલે ચેન્જ કરી શકાય ટાઈમિંગ છે
That I am going to explain, but first of all let me know, have you understood whatever we have explained till now? Definition of setup time, it is clear?
યસ સર યસ
Not only you, I want from all. And what is the negative slack? What is the negative slack? It is clear. Now we are going to modify the design that convert a negative slack into the positive slack, right? Now we are going to make a design which convert a negative slack into the positive slack. So let me have the ensure up to this you all understood. Now let me have to explain the static timing analysis. It is very good because that you have a placement drive, so you should know it, static timing analysis. So this is the our design. Suppose this is a 1D flip-flop. This is the clock and D1. This is Q1, and that is Q1. Here is some combinational circuit. It is called a combo logic. It is called a combo logic, and the output of combo logic, it is given to another D flip-flop, and here have the clock in a synchronous design. So clock is given simultaneously to all the flip-flops. Now here in this design, what is the requirement is, suppose this is clock, right, and let's say this is synchronous digital design and have a triggering at the positive edge of the clock. Okay. Positive edge of the clock. So initially let's say the D1 input initially 0, and then we are giving to 1. So it will make the Q1 it is equal to 1 when it's have the clock edge. So make the Q1 is equal to 1 at this moment, at the first positive clock edge, right? And suppose this have the propagation delay, it's P combinational. So we'll get the D2, it will be the one after the propagation delay. Suppose this one. So this is the P com. Now when have the negative next positive edge of the clock, then what we want, whatever the next input, that should be triggered by the D1, and D2 should be triggered of the previous output of the D1, previous output of the flip-flop 1, right? So previous output of the flip-flop 1 is 1, and so at the next positive edge of the clock, it should trigger this D2 should be 1 before the clock of the next positive edge of clock, and it should be 1 before the setup time. Then it take the correct sample. So here we'll get the Q2 is equal to 1, right? If this time, this is time, it is greater than the setup time. So suppose this time is greater than the setup time. Let's say time t1, t0. Suppose this t0 time is greater than the setup time, then it take the correct sample and we'll get the Q2 is 1 at the next positive edge, right? But suppose that if it's less than the setup time, then it not a correct sample. So to take the correct sample, what is the requirement? So clock period of the clock should be greater than equal to, should be greater than propagation delay of the combinational path between the two register plus the setup time of the flip-flop, right? So plus the setup time of the flip-flop, right? Flip-flop setup time. If this is clock period, so this period, if it's greater than the propagation delay of combination circuit plus the setup time of the flip-flop, then we'll get the positive slack, and it will give the correct functionality in output. But suppose the clock period, if is less than the combinational delay plus the flip-flop setup time, right? Then it will introduce the error and will get the negative slack, and then will not get the correct output, right? Then the design will not work as per the our expectation, as per the our specifications. So what modification we need, right? So here either we have to reduce this propagation delay of the combinational circuit, right? So how we can do it? So we can do it by putting one extra D flip-flops. So by dividing this combinational circuit into the two parts, we are dividing that combinational cascading combination circuit into the two parts. So we'll get the circuit will be the new circuit, and putting the one D flip-flops into the one part, and we are putting one D flip-flop in between them, and then the another part of the combination circuit, and then the again the D flip-flop, which is the second flip-flop, first flip-flop, and this is the extra flip-flops we have put to convert the design into a positive slack, right? So here the propagation delay time, it is the, let's say, half of the peak-off, and here also the propagation delay times of the half of the peak-off, and we want to trigger the all the flip-flops simultaneously. So here this is a flip-flops, extra flip-flops. Due to that, now our condition will be the T clock should be greater than the peak-off by 2 plus the setup time of the extra flip-flop, or the setup times of the flip-flops. All the flip-flops have the same setup time because we are going to use same standard cell for the flip-flops, right? So now if this is will be the positive, then it is called a positive slack, means the T clock, if it's greater than equal to the propagation delay times of the combination circuit by 2 plus flip-flop. So through this methods we can convert a negative slack design into the positive slack design. That is a static timing analysis. Is it clear? Is it clear? Any questions? So it is also called an pipelining approach, right? We are adding extra D flip-flops and we are doing the pipelining. Another method is, so when we are calculating the propagation delay of the combination circuit, we are looking this output that is given to input have the different path, internally have the different path, and we have to choose the path we have the maximum delay. Suppose this path have the maximum delay, it is called a critical path. The path which have the maximum delay, it is called a critical path. So this is another important definition, critical path. So when we are doing the static timing analysis, physical design engineer, right? So they find the critical path. Where is the critical path? So critical path, definition of critical path is the path which have the maximum delay. It is called a critical path, right? Path which have the maximum length, it is not a critical path. Be remember, it not always true. Longest path have a highest the delay. It always not true that the longest path have a higher delay. So be remember, the path which have the longest delay, it is called a critical path. So critical path, to finding the critical path we have to consider the delay, not the length, right? This is another important definition. So that replace the critical path component, critical path device. Suppose in this critical path have a one AND gate and one NOT gate in the critical path, right? This is a critical path. So it convert this, it implement this AND gate, increase the speed up to increase the speed up of AND gate. So how we can increase the speed up of AND gate? We've already learned in our VLSI design. So to increase the speed up of AND length, we if we increase the W of the MOSFET, it will increase the speed up of the MOSFET, right? So is it clear? So by doing that, in compromising the another in terms of area or the power consumptions, we can increase the speed of the device. So this is another way we can have tackle about the to convert the negative slack design into the positive slack design. So hope it is clear as static timing analysis. So once our design is to convert the gate level netlist, we have to check it is meet the static timing analysis or not. So this is the third step of the testing in a VLSI design flow. Then this gate level netlist is tool convert into the circuit level netlist. So gate level netlist means it's have the logic gate, and in circuit level netlist it's implement the logic gate using the NMOS and PMOS transistor. So it is called a circuit level netlist. So at the circuit level netlist we have to check it is meet the propagation delay or not. So again we have to do the static timing analysis. And then at the end circuit level that converted into the layout, right? So all the NMOS and PMOS at the last stage it convert into the layout, and that layout level we have to check layout versus schematic. It is called a LVS. So layout versus schematic means after converting into the layout we have to do the simulations, and we have to check the simulation answer, it matching the simulation answers of the schematic. Means when it is when we have a simulated before the layout, means the pre-layout simulations. So it is a checking of the after the layout functionality and before the layout functionality, it is matching or not. So any change in the functionality after converting into the layout or not. So that checking it is called a layout versus schematic. Once the layout versus schematic is satisfied, so it is called a final verification stage, or also it is called a sign off. So once sign off is complete, right? This is sign off. So these are the tasks mostly work done in a VLSI domain. Any work. The rest of tasks are the fabrication tasks. So it is automatically and done at the fab labs. It is done at the fab lab. So these are the tasks before the fabrications have to do in a programming or in terms of some coding like that. So to do this, to prepare the specification, then implement the specification into the RTL or VHDL, it is called a design engineer or that RTL engineer. Then we have to verify the RTL, it is called a verification engineer, and then the tool convert into the gate level netlist, and again we have to check the generated gate level netlist are meeting the timing requirement or not. Then convert to the circuit level, again we have to check the area and the propagation delay requirement, and at the end the physical design at the sign off stage. After converting into the layout, we have to verify that that simulation result before the layout and simulation result after the layout are matching. And once it's complete, then we have to send that GDS2 file to the fabrication lab. Right? Then the fabrication process, most of fabrication process have automatic fabrication process, not require any human intervention there. So directly is computerized fabrication process. So during the fabrication, it check the wafer testing. So first it prepare the wafer for the chip fabrication. So once the wafer is prepared, it check the wafer is correct. Wafer testing has been done, right? Then the pilot lot production. So it will that first pilot lot is that fabricate, and then then it's given for the validation. So pilot lot is very testing test using the validations. Then it is passed, then it produces a mass productions. So once its pilot lot production is passed all the testing, then it produce a go for the mass productions. And after the mass production, we have to go, all the chip has to be test for the testing, burning and speeding burning. So that have to be done on the all the chip of the product, all the product that produce the chip. Then yield loss, right? So after testing, burning and speeding testing, we'll get the data of the yield loss, how many that we have a chip produce, and from the produce chip how many are working correctly, so that it is a, will get the yield loss. So we have to do the diagnosis and failure mode analysis based on the yield loss. If the yield loss is higher, then definitely we need to do some diagnosis where is the fault is occurring, right? To increase this yield of the design and the failure mode analysis. Once it done, then before the use, like we are testing our digital IC in testers. Before use, any user will also test the chip before using that chip in his or system, right? Suppose you are developing one that embedded system and you require some this MSP 430 processor, then definitely you will first test the MSP 430 or the Arduino if required. Then first you test the Arduino, then you will use the Arduino on your systems, right? So that is an acceptance or incoming testing. Once it done, then it is used in a system. So in system testing also is required, is like the that is the yes, we have two terms. One is that input mortality failure or a breakdown failure. That is, will get the result once we are installed in the our chip, and once we use that. So this is complete design test flow. Any questions in this? You can ask. Let's try to understand the difference between verification and testing. Testing also detection, testing or detection, and verification. So verification means on design, functionality, estimated speed, such things we are checking. It is called a verifications. Testing done at after fabrications, right? So on the device. So testing is done on device. Design and device is different. Try to understand. Design means whatever we have written the RTL code, it is called a design, right? It is a design of 1-bit full adder or design of any digital system. So this is design. And once we are implementing it and prepare the chip for that, right? Suppose if we have 7483, so it is a 4-bit adder chip, right? 4-bit parallel adder chip. So testing is done on the physical device. So it is done on the device. So that is a basic difference between the verification and testing. We remember, not need to remember it from the name itself. You can uh, learn, right? Verification means on the design, whatever we are doing before fabrication, it is called verifications. And once it's fabricate, whatever we are doing for that, it is we are doing the testing on that, right? So it is a pre-silicon before a fabrication. It is done on the post silicon once we converted into the silicon and once fabricated. So verification on the pre-silicon and testing on the post silicon. One time verification have to do need to do one time on a design, and testing have to do for all the IC, all the fabricated IC. Right? Suppose I want to produce, suppose I design a 1-bit full adder, right? I design a 1-bit full adder. I have written RTL code of 1-bit full adder, and then I verify verification of RTL code. So that I have to do for once for one product. This is my design, one design that I have to do once in a verification. But when I converted into the chip for the 1-bit full adder, 3 input and 2 output, right? This is chip. Then I need 1,000 of such chip. So I produce the 1,000 such 1-bit full adder chip, and I have to test each chip, each produce the chip. So testing have to done on all IC. Every time IC is fabricated, even the same product IC, then also I have to do the testing. Method of verification through the simulation, emulation and formal methods. Method of testing like a test generation and test applications. Design bugs make all fabricated IC useless. Design bugs will make, if any bugs in the verification, and without proper verification, if this pass through for the fabrication, then it make all fabricated IC useless. Suppose I have a design 1-bit full adder, and I have not done a proper testing, and my design have error, and once I fabricate the 1,000 of IC of that the error in the design, then all the IC are useless. All the 1,000 IC are useless, right? So make all the fabricated IC are useless. Fabrication defects. Now, if the design is correct, but due to the error introduced due to the fabrication process, right? So may cause all the IC or some of IC useless. May not be all the IC are useless. May it cause some of IC are useless. So for this, let me give one good example. Sometimes it's some IC are useless for the same GDS file design, and some IC are produced with good functionality. When such is happened, so one times એકવાર એક ફેબ્સ લેબ હતી. આ રિયલ સ્ટોરી છે, રિયલ કિસ્સો છે, કોઈ ફેક્સ નથી કે હું સ્ટોરી બનાવતો નથી અને મને સ્ટોરી આવડતી પણ નથી. એક રિયલ, તો એક ફેબ્સ લેબ હતી, અને સપોઝ મેં તમને કીધી હશે, ખબર નથી. તો એક તેમાં આઈસી પ્રોડક્શન, ફેબ્સ લેબમાં તો આઈસી પ્રોડક્શન થાય. તો એમાં એવું થતું હતું, અને પછી બધી આઈસી ટેસ્ટિંગ માટે જાય. સપોઝ આ પ્રોડ્યુસ 11 o'clock જે પ્રોડ્યુસ્ડ આઈસી થયું એ ટેસ્ટિંગમાં જાય, 12 o'clock થયું પાછું ટેસ્ટિંગમાં, 1 o'clock થયું એ ટેસ્ટિંગમાં, એટલે કન્ટિન્યુઅસ પ્રોડક્શન થતું હોય અને કન્ટિન્યુઅસ એનું ટેસ્ટિંગ થતું હોય. તો અમુક સમયનો જે ટાઈમ હતો સપોઝ કે અરાઉન્ડ ધી 1 PM, તો અરાઉન્ડ ધી 1 PM જે સ્લોટમાં આઈસી ફેબ્રિકેટ થતી હતી એ faulty IC fabricate થતી હતી, even in a same fabrication process and for the same design. Then also the for the specific time fabricated IC come with the faulty, and the for the rest of time IC are functionally good, right, working perfectly. So that was happening, right. And the engineer who was there, they thought why such happen in this happening only in the specific duration fabrication is slot come out faulty, and for the rest of time all the IC is functionally correct. Why happening such things? તો તેને વિચાર્યું અને તેને રીઝન શોધી કાઢ્યું. તમારા જેવો હોશિયાર સ્ટુડન્ટ હશે જીસી પાસ આઉટ અને તમારો જેવો હોશિયાર હશે તો એને શોધી કાઢ્યું રીઝન કે જે ફેબ લેબ્સ હતી એની બાજુમાંથી રેલવે ટ્રેક પસાર થતો. નજીક તો ન હોય રેલવે ટ્રેક, નજીક તો ન જ રાખે ફેબ લેબની બાજુમાં, પણ થોડોક હાફ એન્ડ કિલોમીટર દૂર પણ એક રેલવે ટ્રેક હતો, અને એ રેલવે ટ્રેક ઉપર ટાઈમિંગ પ્રમાણે અરાઉન્ડ 1 PM એક ટ્રેન પસાર થઈ, એનો ટાઈમિંગ હતો ટ્રેન. તો જ્યારે ટ્રેન પસાર થાય ત્યારે એ જમીનમાં વાઇબ્રેશન આવતા હતા, અને ડ્યુ ટુ દેટ વાઇબ્રેશન ફેબ સ્લેબમાં પણ વાઇબ્રેશન આવતા હતા. અને ડ્યુ ટુ દેટ વાઇબ્રેશન, અને આપને ખબર છે કે ફેબ સ્લેબમાં ઇવન ઇન નેનોમીટર ડિઝાઇનિંગ એ બધું જ જે મટીરિયલની વિડ્થ અને લેન્થ હોય એ બધું નેનોમીટરમાં સેટિંગમાં હોય, રાઈટ. બે લેયર્સ વચ્ચેનું ડિસ્ટન્સ પણ નેનોમીટર્સમાં હોય. સો એમાં વાઇબ્રેશનના કારણે મશીનના મિકેનિકલ મશીનના વાઇબ્રેશનના કારણે ફેબ સ્લેબના એ ટાઈમ ડ્યુરેશનના સ્લોટમાં બે લેયર્સ કે જે પણ ફોલ્ટ જે પણ બગ્સ ક્રિએટ થતો હોય ડ્યુ ટુ ધી that fault due to that fabrication error, right. તો એ ટાઈમ ડ્યુરેશનમાં એ ફોલ્ટી ચિપ જનરેટ થતી હતી. તો at the fabrication defect is may cause for all the IC or some of the IC useless, right. Not always all IC are useless, right. So ફેબ સ્લેબમાં ઘણા બધા પેરામીટર અફેક્ટ કરતા હોય. સો વાઇબ્રેશન પણ અફેક્ટ કરતો હોય, એ રીતે એન્વાયરમેન્ટ પેરામીટર પણ ઘણા બધા અફેક્ટ કરતા હોય. So change in environment also create a transient change or some temporary change in a fabrication product, right, fabricated process or fabricated product. Or some of the suppose the season are monsoon and have a that વીજળી થતી હોય તો પણ એના કારણે ડ્યુ ટુ દેટ ઇલેક્ટ્રિસિટી it create a fault in a manufactured IC. So એવા ઘણા બધા પેરામીટર અફેક્ટ કરતા હોય. So fabrication defects હોય તો it may cause for all the IC or may not. It's not necessary that all the product is faulty. Okay, any questions? Let me see. Okay, now the how to test. Now our last question is how to test. So we have seen the few questions: why to test, when to test, and why to test, when to test, right? Such question. Now we'll see how to test, where to test. Now how to test. So testing means very simple diagram. You can see the test principle of any digital circuit. Whatever the DUT, this is our design under test that we want to test. So that can be test. This is if it's the digital design, then we have some input pattern. We are passing the input pattern, and we see what the output is generated, and we'll compare this output with the stored correct response, right? And we'll get output as per our expectation. Then we can say the design under test is pass. If the output if not matching for any combination, then we can say the design under test is failed. So it is so simple. It is so simple. So test principle for the digital circuit, right? It is so simple. Any questions in this? This is the general scenarios, just general environment of testing. So if it's so simple, then why we need to learn? Why we need to go for the testing? Why for the syllabus? So if it's so simple, then our syllabus is over, right? Let's check it is so simple or not. Let me give you one example. Suppose I want to check a 64-bit adder, 64-bit adder, right? I want to check a 64-bit adder. It is a very simple digital design. Nowadays, 64-bit adder is a part of processor or it is a part of any IC. It's not a big design. So if I have a one data A which is 64-bit, I want to add with the another data B which is also a 64-bit, and I want to check the design. Suppose if you consider have the any previous query, right? So this is 64-bit data, and this is also a 64-bit data, right? I want to check this simple functionality, right? So if I go with the exhaustive test pattern, right, then how many combinations it have, how much time it requires. Suppose I have one computer through which I simulate my design, and this computer have the CPU which have the 1 gigahertz clock speed. Let's take the CPU work on the 1 gigahertz clock frequency, right? So let's assume in a 1 nanosecond, 1 gigahertz time period means 1 nanosecond. So in a 1 nanosecond, it execute the one combination. Let me assume it execute in 1 nanosecond one combination. One combination of test pattern. One test pattern. Let's say one test pattern or one combination of test pattern. Can anyone tell me how much time required to test a 64-bit adder? Can anyone calculate and tell me how much time required to test a 64-bit adder using a computer which have the 1 gigahertz clock frequency? Can anyone tell me how many combinations it create 64-bit adder with the previous carry? How many combinations it create? Input combination. कितनी हसे?
2^64.
No. 2^64 હોય? કાલે ડિજિટલ કાલે VLSI ની ટેસ્ટ છે હો. How many combinations? 64-bit adder. It's a adder. It's have a two such 64-bit data, not one. A and B. It's have a 2^64 plus 64 of B plus 1. So it's have the 2^129. combination 2 raised to 129, right? In a 1 second it can execute one combination. So how much time it required? So let me divide with the 1 nanosecond. So total time equal to 2 raised to 129 divided by the 1 nanosecond. Calculate. What is the answer? Can anyone tell me the answer? Can your that calculator support 2 raised to 129? It able to display on your display of the calculator? So even if you use a 1 gigahertz computer clock frequency, and even if you want to check only a 64-bit adder, and we know the 64-bit adder is a very simple and small module in a today's the VLSI design, right? So it is a one small part in a IC. So even if you want to check that this small part, it will take time around. Can anyone tell me how many seconds, how many minutes, how many hours, how many days, how many weeks, how many months, how many years it required?
6.80 10 raised to 47.
6.80 10 raised to 47.
Yes, sir.
It is in a second. It is in a second.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So convert into the in a year or days. It will around 10 days to 22 years. So even if we put 64-bit adder for exhaustive testing using the fastest computer 1 gigahertz clock frequency, then also it take the 10 days to 22 years, and we may not be alive after even the 10 days to 2 year we are not alive. So it is we are talking about 10 days to 22 years, so we will not be alive to see the result, right? So that's the beauty why need a testing, and why some intelligent technique required that give us the surety your design will work without go for the exhaustive testing. Are you getting the importance? If it's so simple, then let's our syllabus is over and you all not need to learn the testing and verification. So even to check a very small module, it not possible using the exhaustive testing. So we need to be developed some intelligent, or we need to be identified. So where is the intelligence is required in testing? So intelligence required in a testing is to select the input combinations. So out of, so yes, it required around the 10 days to 22 years. So it is not possible, right? So where is the intelligence is required? So intelligence is required to select the input combinations. Here is the intelligence, right? If we go for the exhaustive testing, we need to pass all the combination to the DUT, design under test, right? But it's not possible in a nowadays electronics design to test using the exhaustive testing. Even the fastest supercomputer if used, then also it's not possible, right? So what to do, we have to select some combinations, not all. We have to pass some selective combinations.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
સર અમારે રવિ સરનો લેક્ચર સ્ટાર્ટ થઈ ગયો છે, એમનો મેસેજ છે ગ્રુપમાં.
Okay, let me end this lecture here. Sorry for